All right, Steve Darrow. Did I just pick a novel there? No, it's not too bad. Okay, Steve writes, of these, which is the most damaging lie progressives tell? Bullet points. A price-coordinated market economy is just another ism that can be replaced. Or, wealth and income is unfairly distributed among classes and genders. Or, all non-progressives are just hate-filled, racist, sexist, bigot homophobes. Or, are there other lies that you would add? Well, they're all good. I think probably the most damaging lie is, certainly to me, is this whole, if you disagree with me, you're a racist thing. It's, you know, I'd love to tell you I'm over it, but I'm not. I don't think I'll ever get over it. So that aspect of it, and we did a segment this morning on Grant's show where there were third graders, 8-year-old boys playing football, playing just Pee Wee League football, 8-year-old boys, not standing up for the national anthem now because they saw it on NFL TV, and the NFL guys are not doing it because they buy this narrative that blacks are being just murdered indiscriminately in this country by whites and getting away with it. So you see 8-year-olds taking a knee for something you don't even understand. It's heartbreaking. That's a very damaging lie. But if I could convince people of one thing, it would be, I would show them how wealth is created. Because if you can convince people that wealth can be created and that it's not a zero-sum game, then everything they believe falls apart. If I can convince people that you can either work hard or smart or both and make something that wasn't there before, then what I'm doing is I'm proving to people that it's not like somebody got a bigger slice of the pie than you got. We don't have to divide the pie. In order for me to get more pie, I don't have to take pie away from you. I can go bake more pies and make as many damn pies as I want to, be swimming in pie if I want to, because I can make as many pies as I'd like. And the entire history of this country is that we just bake more pies. That's all we do. Instead of looking at other people and envying them and wishing we had their stuff and trying to take away their cow, we just say to ourselves, okay, well, what do you do to get a cow? You have to do this. You have to work hard. Great. If I work twice as hard, does that mean I get 2 cows? Yeah. Okay, fantastic. I'm in. And now the idiot's son-in-law has a job, and off we go. So I would try to convince people that you can create wealth and that wealth is not limited. And then I would point out to people who are obsessed with income inequality, obsessed with the idea that somebody makes $8 an hour and somebody else makes $800 an hour and somebody else makes $8 million an hour, and how unfair that is. I would point to the fact that if you look at income inequality, it's pretty perfectly coordinated with outcome inequality. Output inequality, I should say. You'll find that the people who are making the most money are the people who are producing the most value towards society, because money doesn't care who owns it. Money doesn't care. Doesn't care if you're Beyonce, doesn't care if you're Warren Buffett. Money goes to where the need is. And that's all money is. It's a way to fulfill needs. And if you can create a need, you're going to get money. And if you understand that, then you realize that it's not like the wealth fairy flew low over the land and tapped a few lucky individuals and made them rich. And not only are they rich, they're rich because they took stuff away from somebody else. It's not true. It's not true. The amount of money that I make here or don't make here does not influence whether or not a single mom gets a check. As a matter of fact, the more money I make, the more taxes I pay. And the more taxes I pay, the more money that person makes. I think it's a catastrophe, but it is in fact true. And by the way, that's an American term, I think, certainly used by Americans, and nobody understands the power of it. We've said it our entire lives without understanding the power of it. What are you going to do? I'm going to go out and make some money. You're going to what now? I'm going to go make some. You mean you're going to go steal some? No. You're going to go take some from somebody who has more than you do? No. I don't understand. I'm going to go make some. I'm going to go make some money. It's time to make some money. They can't comprehend it. You're actually making wealth. The money is used to trade for wealth, but essentially, yeah, I'm going to go do stuff. It's so simple. It's so simple. It's so simple. I am going to do more work than I need to. You understand? I need to do this much work in order to stay alive in minimal circumstances, in crappy housing, with crappy food and crappy conditions and crappy clothes and all the rest. That's how much work I need to do to stay alive. And I'm going to voluntarily do more work than that because I'd like to have nicer stuff. Therefore, you don't get a 40-hour week out of me. Or in a socialist country, you might be lucky to get 6 hours of work in a week. 6 hours of surly work, by the way. Surly, incompetent, lazy, error-filled work a week because they're not being rewarded for their work. Doesn't matter whether they work or not. Doesn't matter whether they work 1 hour or 60 hours. The reward is the same. So why would you work 60 hours if the reward for 60 hours of work is the same as for 1 hour of work? You can run into young people who say, because of the good of this community and good of the society, and then you run them right back to, okay, well, Fidel Castro had $800 million and Bernie Sanders has 3 houses because of suckers like you, because of people like you who believe that that is true, who believe that wishing something is true. You believe it right now. I understand that you do. I believe that kind of nonsense to some degree when I was your age too. You are going to get over this belief when you see people cheating in front of your eyes. That's when you're going to get over it. When you go to college and you have a roommate and you keep buying milk and the other guy keeps buying milk and the other guy keeps buying milk and one guy drinks your milk but never replaces the milk. That's when you're going to get over this idea. And you can call him on it and you can point it out to him, but it's not going to matter. They don't care. That one firewall on socialism ends with, friendlyism doesn't work. Because everybody likes to eat cookies, but not everybody likes to make cookies. Simple, period. That's all there is to it. And that, what's called selfishness, and how can you be so selfish, is again a reflection of that core misunderstanding. What do you mean? How could you be so selfish? Why do you have to have so much when other people have so little? Well, what I have has got nothing to do with what they have. Well, you should share it. Well, if I'm forced at gunpoint to share it with other people who are doing nothing, then certainly we can agree that the more I have, the more I can share, right? So even then you lose, you dumb socialist bastards. And we'll all end up eating the zoo creatures, right? But we'll be equally starving. That's what they want. And now you get to the brass tacks, Steve. You get to the brass tacks. The brass tacks of it is socialism is bought into by people who, in many cases, have a good heart and who are convinced that this is fair, but it's perpetrated by con men like Fidel Castro and Bernie Sanders, who would never in a million years, have the money to buy a $600,000 lakefront house, except that he can sell this lie to suckers. And it's a profitable business. Fidel went out with $600, $700, $800 million worth of money. Fidel Castro, what would he have done in the real world? Or Hillary Clinton. What would Hillary Clinton be if she wasn't a politician? If she wasn't buying votes with my money, what would she be? I mean, honestly, seriously, we all know who she is. What would Hillary Clinton be out in the world? Bill Clinton would be, I think, Bill Clinton had a chance to become a millionaire and maybe a multimillionaire selling cars in Arkansas. I think he would have been superb at that. Now, whether he's got the discipline to do it, I don't know. I suspect he did or would have. But if Bill Clinton wasn't in politics, I can see Bill Clinton making $1 million or a couple $1 million a year because Clinton Chevrolet in Little Rock is the biggest Chevrolet dealer in the entire state. Or in the entire East, because Bill Clinton was good with people. He charmed the daylights out of people. He was a superb car salesman. And he would have earned that money too, by the way. Would have earned it instead of selling out the country for exchange for speaking fees and so on. But what would Hillary Clinton be, honestly? Somebody that unpleasant. What would they do out in the private sector? I suspect Hillary Clinton could find a job as a college administrator. I think that'd be about as far as she goes. She'd be a college administrator. I don't see her being a success in business because she's just too unpleasant. She's too narcissistic. She can't work with people. Azimuth Smith says that she would have been a crappy lawyer. Well, she was a crappy lawyer, but she wouldn't. Hillary Clinton could have gone on to be a personal injury attorney in Gainesville, Florida. Or maybe she would have been a personal injury attorney in Little Rock, and maybe she and Bill would have met, and maybe they would have fallen in love like they are today. But I doubt it. Bernie Sanders, what would Bernie Sanders do in the real world? What would Barack Obama do in the real world? Seriously, take his resume prior to him getting into the Senate race and ask yourself, what would this guy be qualified to do? Well, what's his resume? Harvard Law, extremely impressive. Very impressive. Columbia, yep. Okay, let's see what we have here. So you were president of the Harvard Law Review. I get more and more impressed every second, Mr. Obama. That's superb. This law firm has a very deep need for people with that kind of mind. What kind of law reviews? Can I see some of the law reviews that you wrote when you were the president of the Harvard Law Review? Oh, I didn't write any law reviews. I don't understand. What do you mean you didn't write any law reviews? I didn't write any law reviews. But you were president of Harvard Law Review. Yep. Why didn't you write any law reviews when you were the president of Harvard Law Review? Well, I actually did write law reviews, but they just weren't published. Aha. Now I begin to sense the outlines of a potential problem here. So I'm looking here at your resume, and it says that you were given a sizable advance. What was it, $60,000 to write a book? Yep. About race conditions in the inner city? Yep. But you didn't deliver the book. So what happened to the $60,000? Well, I just spent it. Okay. But you delivered the book? No, never did. So what happened? Well, I got somebody to pay me another $20,000, and then I had somebody else write a book about my life. So it was about you, yeah, but you didn't write it. No, not really. I think this interview is finished. Thank you very much for your time. We're really glad you came in. We'll call you if we have an open opportunity. He wouldn't have been a top lawyer. He would have been what he was. He would have been a guy who's out handing out forms and getting people riled up. You know? He would have been that. He's a narcissist. He's not a nice guy. Nobody likes him. Who are his friends? Does he have friends? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. He's a kid who was abandoned, 3 times? Well, 1 time forcibly. His dad left, and then his mom remarried, and then mom left that guy, who seems to have been one of the few good guys in the world, Elder Sotero. And then his mom left him. And he had delusions of grandeur for as long as he's been Barack Obama. And by the way, he's been Barack Obama since about, 2004, maybe 2003. Prior to that, for his entire life, he was Barry Soetoro. That's how he was in college. That's his name in college. It's the name he used, Barry Soetoro. But Barack Obama sounds historic. Barry Soetoro sounds a little more common than that. Anyway, Joe Biden. It's one of my oldest jokes. And not one of my best, but really, Joe Biden could not only not run Walmart, Joe Biden couldn't run a Walmart. I don't think Joe Biden's got the intellectual chops to run a Target store, let alone be president of Target. So anyway, that's what I would do, Steve. And hey, look at the time. It's almost 8 o'clock. Just a little under 2 hours of Stratosphere Lounge is here. I love wearing this orange shirt. It makes me blend into the background, and everything looks too pink. Well, I don't know what to do about that. But I guess we're not watching the show for the color balance. People remarked on the fact that the show got off the ground, started from the opening title card at a reasonable time, and the show came up, and the sound and the lights and the camera were working all at the same time. My God, it's a first. So that'll do it for the Stratosphere Lounge. 165, I guess. Is that right? Yep. Episode number 165. My God, don't you people have anything better to do? Apparently not. It's nothing like a good stretch. Okay, well, in any event, thanks very much for joining us. As always, this is made possible by the paying members at BillWhittle.com, and whose support we never take for granted and who we're very grateful for. David Booty just said I look like Pluto. He's right. That I knew there was something wrong with this look, and it's true. The face has the same cast as Pluto. Hair's not terribly far from it either. Charon is badass looking. Charon looks like the Death Star, but Pluto's hideous. If that's true color of Pluto, then somebody needs to do some Photoshop work and get that planet into shape. Because a nice blue and a gray, that would have been cool. But this dead pink and this horrible beige, jeez, what a nasty place to live. Okay, that'll do it. Thanks again for joining us. They have the calendar up. I don't see any reason why. here's my promise to you. Here's my manufacturer's promise to you. This is the Bill Whittle guarantee. I don't see any reason why we can't do the show next week as things appear right at this second. Okay, that's got to be a promise that you don't find anywhere else in the business world. Anyway, that's it for 165. Thanks again for joining us. I'm going to just go ahead and hit the button now, Frank, and we'll see you next time.